Alright, today we're going to discuss what war was like in World War I and how it affected those that were involved. So we're going to compare and contrast two different images here. So this image right here is during the Napoleonic Wars in 1812. So take a look. I see a lot of horses. I see some pointy sticks. There's maybe some cannons of some sort going on. And then fast forward to about 100 years later, and this is World War One. This is some type of tank. It's crazy, technologically advanced. There's some machine guns. I don't see any horses. I see this weird trench thing. So I see some differences between the two. Alright, so we're going to look at each of the four sections that are on your worksheet. The first one we're going to talk about is industrialization. So let's scroll down and learn a little bit about industrialization. Alright, so we learned a little bit about industrialization when we talked about the Industrial Revolution. So we know that it is a system where people are manufacturing goods in factories. We know that things can be manufactured faster. It enabled factory owners to produce more goods with precision. And they were using things called assembly lines to speed up the production. They were able to mass produce things such as guns, tanks, airplanes, automobiles, ammunition, and replacement parts needed for the war effort. So here is a German munition factory. They were making what appears to be cannons. And here, these are women munition workers, and they appear to be making some kind of cases that are going into some big gun or cannon of some sort. And this chart shows the amount of explosions production that occurred between Britain and Germany, and you can see the difference between 1914. This is Britain, this is Germany. Looks like they are doing less than 20 tonnage or thousands of explosive ammunitions, and then by 1917 you can see that we're in the 140,000 for Germany and over 180 for Britain. Alright, so how did industrialization in Europe affect the production of goods needed for World War I? Because of the industrialization and the Industrial Revolution, we could process or mass produce weapons faster in a short amount of time and with more precision. Question 2, how did this industrialization affect soldiers and those on the home front in World War I? So it created jobs for those at home. Those were typically women, and they were working in factories to support war supplies of some sort. And also due to the advancement in the technology for warfare, the soldiers are at a greater risk of dying. Okay, so now we're seeing something called total war, and this is where nations are willing to make any sacrifice necessary in order to win. It will use its total available military, technology, and human resources in order to win. So total war is considered to be the most extreme form of warfare because it deals with both civilians, those who are not soldiers, just common everyday people, and soldiers as well are targets. So there was a lot of dedication and time into making new war technologies, and women who typically didn't work back in the day, they didn't work outside of the home back in the day, they were starting to replace the men in some of the factory jobs that they had when they went off to war. And those that were asked to stay home were also asked to ration, which is basically saying like you can only eat, like for example, no meat on Monday. Here it says sugar, meat, flour, butter, margarine, and milk were tightly controlled, and the families were urged to consume less. And in addition, we started to have propaganda posters and different media outlets. And here's an example of a city in Belgium. And this is pre-World War One, and this is after World War One, and you can see how many civilian and military buildings were targets. This is a propaganda poster for women in promoting their purpose and making war supplies. And here's another propaganda poster asking people to turn in your silver into bullets at the post office. So in total war, the whole entire country is dedicating its time to the war efforts. And it is totally different than the way that most wars were fought before World War One, in the event that the civilians were affected in World War One at this point. And how did total war affect soldiers and those on the home front in World War One? It required women at home to go to work outside of the home, and also you had to ration food so that the soldiers could have enough food as well. And the soldiers were now at a greater risk due to the new technologies and the need for more protection. All right, we're going to watch a History.com video on, yes, I would like you to do that, on some of the technological advances.
I think one really clear way of understanding the shift in World War I in terms of technology is that soldiers rode in on horses and they left in airplanes.
At the beginning of World War I, warfare is almost in the 19th century style. The French sincerely believed that going at the troops with determination at enemy troops is the way to go. What they don't understand is the collision of technologies.
General Pershing didn't believe in the trench warfare. He grew up on the plains fighting in Indian warfare where it was an open confrontation. So he trained his troops to fight in the open warfare. The British and French generals thought he was crazy. They criticized him for this.
It's impossible.
Super slow bandwidth at my house, right here.
To cross that deadly beaten zone, the deadly zone between the two lines. The most determined line of soldiers cannot oppose a machine gun that fires hundreds of rounds a minute.
World War I wasn't just the first industrial war, it was also the first scientific war. It was the first time that societies had taken all of their resources of science and intelligence and said, how do we do this better? How do we fight better? How do we develop technologies?
A lot of the armaments you see in World War I had been used before. Submarines, trench warfare, Gatling guns, machine guns. What happens during World War I is that these become mature and these become even more destructive.
During the war, the governments of all the different warring powers put enormous amounts of time and effort into scientific and technical development, so that the advancements which would have happened anyway happen at a much more rapid pace, and they happen according to the priorities of the warring powers.
Something happened in trench warfare that changed the course of the war and changed the way we understand warfare today, and that is chemical warfare.
The first gas attack, it was at a place called Vimy Ridge, and it was mostly Canadian soldiers who were being attacked. And the Canadian soldiers who were in the trenches saw this cloud of haze coming towards them. They had no gas masks. They had no equipment to protect them. Chlorine gas causes your lungs to fill with liquid, and so essentially you drown from the inside out. It was really the first war in which all of the technologies and science and industry of the 19th century were put to the sole purpose of killing people.
All right, so we can see here some of the advancements in the technology in warfare. There's machine guns here. We see airplanes. This is a Canadian soldier that has been burned with mustard gas. We have updated technology in our submarines and the use of tanks. All right, so question 5 asks to describe 3 technological developments in the warfare during World War I. We have tanks, submarines, machine guns, airplanes, chemical gas. Number 6, how did technological developments during World War I affect the soldiers who fought? This led to trench warfare, which eventually prolonged the war. It was hard to make progress with equal technology. They eventually came to a stalemate, and increased fatalities of World War I occurred due to the technological developments in war. So at the start of World War I, they were fighting in what looked like that picture in the Napoleonic Wars, and once they realized how accurate and effective the new artillery and machine guns were, they realized that they needed a new tactic. So both sides of the war started to dig a series of trenches to help them protect them from the enemy fire. So you can see a couple of examples of what those look like here. Here's a front line trench, and here's a communication trench, and you can come to the support trench. And then over here, they're not very big trenches. You can see exactly how big they are. They're just like dug right into the mud, into the ground. They're not luxurious. And if you would like to learn a little bit more about that, I suggest you click on these couple of excerpts about trench warfare. But basically what you need to know is that one side would attack by climbing out of their trench, and they would go over what was the most dangerous section called no man's land. And here's an example of where no man's land is here. So someone might come up from a trench and start shooting, and then have to come back down and find shelter inside of the trench eventually. And later the other side would do the same thing to win back that trench, gaining only a small amount of land, and it did lose a lot of soldiers. So this resulted in a stalemate, a position in which neither side could win. Alright, so what is trench warfare? It's the new tactic to machine guns and artillery. Soldiers would dig a trench for protection, and this was how they're doing new warfare. And how did trench warfare affect the soldiers who were in World War I? When progress was made, it was very, very small, and it cost a lot of soldiers' lives. So it led to a stalemate where neither side attacked or progressed.